Hi, John. Hey, Jaguars. Remember, we are reading Hero Dog by Hildy Lysiak, and she is a reporter for her little newspaper, and she is investigating a break-in in her neighborhood. So right now she is off to investigate a chicken coop. Time to investigate the chicken coop. I grabbed my bike and walked it across the street. I could see the coop in the backyard. I opened the latch on the gate, and then I heard the biggest, most terrifying bark. Chapter 4, Mighty Zeus. A tiny, scruffy-haired black dog ran up to me. The dog wasn't terrifying at all. He was adorable. I was laughing when a large man wearing blue overalls walked over. "Oh, don't mind Zeus. He's all bark," the man said, smiling. It was Mr. McIntosh. I had seen him around, but I had never spoken to him before. I didn't know he had a dog. "I've never heard a dog bark so loud. I thought I was about to become a chew toy," I said, rubbing behind Zeus's ears. "Oh, people often mistake my little Zeus's bark for that of a dog 10 times his size," Mr. McIntosh said. "Now what can I help you with?" "I'm Hildy of the Orange Street News," I began, taking out my notebook. "I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions about the break-in on your street." "The break-in?" he said. "What makes you think I would know anything about that?" "Well, I was across the street talking to—" I began to explain. "Was that old woman complaining about my chickens again?" he said. He suddenly sounded grumpy. "No, well, kind of," I stammered. "Mrs. Taggart said she heard your chickens making a lot of noise. I thought it might have something to do with the break-in." "Mrs. Taggart only has herself and all her baking to blame for the noise," he said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Oh, she's always baking with her windows open. The sweet smells make my animals go crazy, especially poor Zeus," Mr. McIntosh explained. I wrote everything down. Oh, so we have some clues to add to our notebook, which is right over here, which we will check out at the end of this episode. So the first clue is Mrs. Taggart often complains about Mr. McIntosh's chickens. So hang that up there. The second clue is Mrs. Taggart bakes with her windows open. So put that right there under clues, and smell of baked goods makes Zeus and the chickens go crazy. So that is right there. Put that under clues also. "Well, would it be okay if I check out your chicken coop?" I asked. "You're certainly nosy," he said, "and you ask a lot of questions." "Oh, it's a reporter's job to ask questions," I answered. I knew if I took myself seriously, other people would take me seriously too. I looked him straight in the eyes. "Be my guest. Take a look in the coop. You'll see my chickens are just as well behaved as my dog," he said. "I have nothing to hide." Zeus followed me to the coop, and we stepped inside. It was a mess. Feathers covered the dirt floor. Mr. McIntosh," I called out, "is your coop always this messy?" He rushed inside. "Oh no," he gasped. "My eggs! They're gone!" Oh, we have another clue. Noisy chickens and stolen eggs. Chapter 5, Stolen Eggs. I said, looking around Mr. McIntosh's chicken coop. "It looks like your eggs have been stolen, but at least the chickens will lay more tomorrow." "Well, that's not soon enough," he said. "I needed those fresh eggs to bake my award-winning cheesecake for today's bake-off bonanza." "Oh, I remember that cheesecake," I said. "Didn't it win second place last year?" "Yep," said Mr. McIntosh proudly. "And the year before that it beat Mrs. Taggart's cherry crumb pie. The old lady still hasn't gotten over it." His face clouded over. "Now what will I bake for the contest?" he said. I don't know, I replied, but I will find out who did this. Did you see or hear anything strange? I guess I did see something strange, he said. I noticed a broken plate and some smashed cupcakes in the road over there. I looked where he was pointing. I saw several cupcakes scattered near a broken plate, and there were crumbs all over the street. Thanks for the tip, I said. So we have more things for our notebook. The what is a broken plate? So we'll put that under what. And then we also have smashed cupcakes. Put that under what. And a who. Our who is a baked good loving thief. Well, you better check it out soon, Mr. McIntosh replied. I'm about to take Zeus for a walk, and he has a sweet tooth. Oh, I'll investigate right away, I said. Also, can my sister Izzy come take pictures of your coop? Sure, whatever helps catch this thief, he said. I shot Izzy a text. Hey, Izzy, get to the corner of Orange and Pine fast. Take pics inside the chicken coop, then meet me near the broken plate in the road. Izzy replies, okay, hotshot. Tick, tock, tick, tock. It was 2 p.m. Remember, she has to have her story online by 6 o'clock. I couldn't wait for Izzy. I hopped on my bike. Thanks, Mr. McIntosh. Bye, Zeus, I called behind me. If I was lucky, this trail of cupcakes would lead me straight to the scene of the crime. Chapter 6. A Crummy Trail. I was still following the trail of crumbs when Izzy caught up with me. It's about time, I said. It wasn't my fault, Izzy answered. I thought I was going to be eaten alive while getting a picture of the chicken coop. Oh yeah, that dog surprised me too, I said. We both laughed. The trail stops here, I told Izzy. I pointed down at a glob of yellow icing. Izzy took a pic. Then she looked around. Someone trampled those flowers, she said, pointing. Well, let's check it out, I said. We followed the trail of stomped flowers. It led right to Mrs. Hooper's house. Mrs. Hooper was my piano teacher. Remember, there is a map at the beginning. So here is her neighborhood, and there's a key down here. So they started at the police station right here. Then they went to Mrs. Taggart's house, which was right there. Then they went down Orange Street. Oh, they went to Mr. McIntosh's house was right here. Now they're following the trail of crumbs and the cupcakes to Mrs. Hooper's house, which is right here. So now they are down on this corner down there. We dropped our bikes and knocked on the door. No one answered. I went to the window. There's yellow icing on this windowsill, I exclaimed. A clue, said Izzy, tasting the icing. Yep, lemon. This matches the cupcake icing in the street. I am not going to ask how you know that, I said, rolling my eyes. So I bet the thief snuck in through this window. I stood up on my tippy toes to see inside. What are you doing, Hildy? Izzy asked. Well, don't worry about me. Just get some shots of that icing smear, I said. Izzy took pics. It's against the law to peep into people's windows, Izzy said. You're going to get in trouble. Right before I could get a good look at the crime scene, I saw flashing lights. A police car pulled up. Chapter 7. The Super Secret Source. A police officer leaned out the window. Fortunately for me, it was Officer D. He's my only reliable source at the Selinsgrove Police Department. I can always count on him to give me the scoop. Hildy, you know you can't peep into people's windows, he called out. Sorry, Officer D, I answered. I walked over to his car. Izzy was right behind me. Remember, Hildy, he said, you want to be the one reporting the news, not becoming it. Yes, Officer D, I said. So are you here about the break-in? No, I'm on my way to another call, he said. I pulled out my notebook. Where are you headed? Excuse me. Well, there's some sort of trouble at the Kind Cat Cafe, he answered. I've got to go. Officer D sped away. Oh, we have some more clues now. We have where might be Mrs. Hooper's house, which is where they are right now, or it might be at the Kind Cat Cafe where Officer D is heading off for. The Kind Cat Cafe was my favorite restaurant. Not only is the bacon always crispy, but the owner has 3 friendly cats. I hope the cats are okay, I thought. Izzy and I ran to our bikes. Just then, Mrs. Hooper pulled into the driveway. She saw me and smiled. Hi, Hildy. We aren't scheduled for a lesson today, are we? Hi. No, I'm investigating the break-in, I said. Can you confirm it happened at your house? A reporter always confirms her facts. Mrs. Hooper's warm smile melted away. Yes, someone broke into my home early this morning. Can you tell me what happened? I asked. I baked cupcakes last night, set them on my kitchen table, and when I woke up, that window was open and the plate of cupcakes was gone. Nothing else was stolen, but I still called the police. I was stumped. Why would anyone bother breaking in only to steal cupcakes, I asked, and why didn't they eat them? The thief just threw them in the road. I've been asking myself the same questions, replied Mrs. Hooper. My cupcakes are delicious. That recipe won me the Bake-Off Bonanza 3 years ago. I looked at my phone. It was 2:30 p.m. Izzy, we need to get to the Kind Cat Cafe, I said. Thank you, Mrs. Hooper, we yelled as we hopped on our bikes. We raced back down toward Pine Street, but then we skidded to a stop, and we were going to stop there. And so we'll read chapter 8 next time. But before we leave, let's look at our notebook. Okay, so we have, let's see if I can get this. Oh, darn it. Let's see if I can get that back up. Well, anyway, here we go. We've got when, early morning, still dark out. Then we have a note that maybe the chickens were squawking because the thief was nearby. And then we have who, a baked goods loving thief. What, broken plate, smashed cupcakes. Where, we have Mr. McIntosh's house, Mrs. Hooper's house, the Kind Cat Cafe, all kinds of stuff going on. And then we have, I'll fix that for next time, but then we have a bunch of clues. Mrs. Taggart's often complains about Mr. McIntosh's chickens. Mrs. Taggart bakes with the windows open. There's a smell of baked goods makes Zeus and the chickens go crazy. Noisy chickens and stolen eggs. So we'll have to see if how this all adds up to solving who did the break-in. See you next time.